grandfathers, uncles, they were not better providers than men are today. They just lived in a time where life was a lot easier. 1990, the average mortgage payment in America was $650. Today, the average monthly mortgage payment is $2,500. The average rent price in America in 1990, it was $370. The average rent price today is $2,000. Meanwhile, the average income in 1990 was $30,000. Today, the average income is $55,000. The average income hasn't even doubled, and that's in 35 years. The average minimum wage in 1990 was $4. The average minimum wage today is $7.25. So there's really no comparison, but people, they really lack understanding of this basic thing. And if you're going to compare people from the past to today, this should be the point that y'all bring up, is that people understood where they were in life and where they were on the social economic ladder, and they desired and wanted things that were according to where they were in life.
Okay.
Are men of today better providers than our fathers?
Good question.
I say no.
Yes, we are. And first of all, we are overall, we're a better batch. We the best batch of men that been on this planet ever. But let's start it. We with our kids more. We handle more responsibility. We take more bullshit from y'all. So I feel like this the best batch of men ever created. If we got to be honest.
That's a good point, because women's expectations of men have never changed. Women still want men to be providers, protectors, and so on and so forth. But women have not kept up on their roles. What do I mean by that? So women have expectations of men, and they've been the same throughout centuries: provide, protect. Okay, same thing. But women expect men not to expect anything of them, like the women of yesteryear. So if men expected women to cook, clean, be submissive and kind and, nurturing, women are like, no, we are equal. So I'm not going to be submissive because we are equal, we are partners. And I'm also not going to cook and clean because I'm working. But in the same breath, women say, even if we're equal, even if I'm not cooking and cleaning, I still expect you to provide, and I still expect you to protect. So in other words, women's expectations for men have stayed the same the whole time. They still expect you to provide, but you cannot expect them to cook and clean and be nurturing and all those roles. So in other words, men of today actually might be better providers because they're getting less from their women.
Yeah, even if we wanted to be better providers, the women fight us to be equal anyways.
Facts.
So it's like we're trying to be good, but they trying to fight us to be equal and this and that. So
yep.
I think if he gave a economic breakdown, but that's always gonna vary depending on time anyway. So I don't even think that matters. It's just the women back then wasn't fighting to be a CEO and saying she not cooking, she not cleaning, she don't got time. So it's just a different dynamic.
Yeah, because if you actually hear some of the stories, the women of yesteryear, back in the past, the women used to say, my husband works and gives me the check, and then I can pay the bills of the household the way I see fit. So the man would work, bring all the money, give to his woman for her to buy food, do whatever she wants. But that's because those women respected those men. They never fought with them. They were submissive, they were kind, they never disrespected them. But today, a woman will call her husband names, disrespect him, and still expect him to pay 100% of the bills. It's not a fair trade. You feel me? So men don't get the same nice, soft, submissive woman the way men back in the day used to get. But the expectations for the men are still the same.
You think women are fighting to be providers too?
Well,
they are not fighting to be providers. They are fighting to be equal, but still expect the man to be a provider.
They for sure they love the word independent.
No. No, not independency. Do you think women of today are fighting to be providers?
No.
Oh, no. I mean, if they could find somebody to take care of them, they'll take it.
Yep.
It's just, I guess today they're requiring more of men. So, we got to be 6'6", 6 pack, six figures. So it seems like it's just harder for us to do that. And then there's attitudes, it's just all over
Yeah.
the place.
I think the attitude, like I said, like a man would provide for a woman. He will do anything to provide. He will give his last dollar. At least most men would if the woman was nice, even if she pretends to be nice. But it's like some women want to disrespect a man, talk crazy when they want, not be held accountable, but still expect the man to still provide. It's like they say they will be nice to you when they want to be, but you better provide every time, not only when you want to provide. It's not a fair trade.
They fighting for the title, but less responsibility.
Facts.
Okay, they want to be looked at as household partners and equals to their man without doing the same or as much responsibility as the man. Man, y'all are lucky to have us. Jess, Molly, Jerry, Nikki, Q. Y'all should be really on y'all on y'all knees praying for us niggas. We the niggas who your granny them was dreaming about. Because not only do we pay everything, for the majority of the part, we faithful.
Yeah.
No. That's wrong. Most men.
And I was just about to say that there's some sort of disconnect between.
The disconnect is y'all hard headed.
Yep.
No.
Y'all.
You're wrong. You might pay everything, but most these men don't. Based on the average income of what men are making, two income household is needed. So no. Well, maybe because I'm taking it from my dad paying everything, my dad being that man. Most of these men are not like my dad.
But also, your mom is submissive to your dad, so he's in a position to pay for everything without even thinking about it. But most men won't be willing to pay for everything. If a woman is working, if she's not submissive, she never cooks, she never cleans. It's like, if we are both working, how can I pay for everything? That doesn't make sense.
Based on the statistics going on today.
Y'all got a misunderstanding of I don't know your dad in particular, but in general, y'all got a misunderstanding of who your grandfathers and your fathers was. Y'all fathers was fuck ups. They was not great.
Yeah.
Listen, they didn't have the same pressures, they didn't exist in the social media era. They did not spend as much money. And I think that the ability to survive was much easier based off of how much you made. It's just the truth. Wages haven't increased as much as the cost of living. And so the ability to support a whole family of 4 or 2 or 1 or 3 or whatever is much more difficult. And I think that because y'all falsely compare us to y'all punk ass fathers, we don't get the credit that we deserve. We better than them. We way better than them.
Thanks.
We better than them punk ass cokeheads. Y'all daddies was cokeheads.
And
There was deadbeats.
your granddad
Right.
had y'all staying in a shotgun shack. You can't tell me, granted, this nigga had one job not to get caught up. He had to take a piece of paper out of his pocket. He couldn't even spare granny them tears. That's all he had to do was take the number out of his pocket.
Y'all daddies was weak as fuck. They was some bitch ass.
There were deadbeats in every generation. It's just that the deadbeats in our generation are more amplified due to social media. It's like
it was more of them.
Yeah,
listen,
there was
these motherfuckers have families all over town. We
Oh,
ain't
yeah.
got social media.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, you get.
That's why I keep my mouth shut. That's not what it is.
Oh yeah.
Listen, they was
I'll keep
listen.
my mouth
Y'all got to realize they was making 100,000 in the 90s. Do you know what 100,000 in 1992 was like?
It's about
This nigga was
600,000
rich.
now.
Wait, so Anton, if they were doing that back then, right? Does that mean that if some men from back then was doing it, why aren't the men of today not doing it?
Because
I think in my perspective, I think in my opinion, men back in the day had multiple baby mamas, and the woman would know, or maybe not even know about it. So men back in the day had multiple baby mamas, multiple kids from different areas. But I think it changed now. Now women have multiple baby daddies in multiple areas. So back in the day, men did all the cheating, most of the cheating, had more kids. But now women have more kids than men do, with a small percentage of men. in my opinion.
It's
because
harder.
we got kicked out of the
Cost
house.
more.
Is it harder or they're more lazy?
Nah,
No,
man.
No,
I'm
it's
not more
It's
lazy.
still the same 8
I also
hours.
think that sometimes men don't feel there's no incentive for some men to want to do it in the first place, given the type of modern women that are
That's
here
true too,
today.
Jerry.
Mhm.
That's facts. That's what I said. Like any man would be willing to steal, if it comes to it, to provide for a woman who shows that she is caring, she's not a user, she respects him, she puts effort. Any man would be willing to do anything for a woman like that. But men these days are like, okay, you want to work, you don't want to cook, you don't want to clean. We are equal, so why would I pay 100% of the bills if you're working too? And it's like, we're just a partnership, really. It's like you're doing your thing, I'm doing my own thing. The only thing we do really is be intimate, have sex, go on dates together, and that's it. So why would I pay 100% of that? Plus, you can disrespect me whenever you want, and you don't want me to say anything about it. So most men, she's right. It's like, why should I go above and beyond? There is no incentive.
So I think that a man will be willing to do more for a woman that he feels like he can get as much value from. And that's not
Yep.
necessarily using her like for her body or objectifying her, but if he feels like he can get a package deal out of this one woman, then of course he's going to cater and do more to her. But for some men, because I know a lot of single men and they don't want to do anything for a woman, not because they don't necessarily have it, but because they don't feel like that woman is good enough to be receiving his resources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all y'all are good enough for a 1-room shack, but you're not good enough for a 3-bedroom apartment. Like you hold your horses. So what your granny was compared to was a 1-room shack because that was the shit that day. But what the equivalent of that is today is a 3-bedroom apartment, and y'all not worth that.
That's facts. Like back in the day, dad and mom would live in a single room for years and build together. These days, you as a man, if you're a bachelor, you rent your own single room, you will be lucky to have a woman willing to live in that same room with you. They would rather pay their $1,000 a month rent, you pay your $1,000 rent, rather than thinking, you know what, if we live together and we both pay 500 and we use this 500 to actually invest in the future and plan for our kids, they would rather you stay by their side and she stays on her own so she can feel independent, rather than you guys coming together to save for the future. It is what it is, man.
Well, the influence is bad too because women, everybody knew where they landed in the hierarchy of life, and they were okay with that. They were okay with being a man in a city. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wasn't trying to fly out or compete against the same people and all of that. I think that everybody was more willing to accept their lot in life and just work on being the best that they can in that space. Everybody wasn't being, being influenced and all of that shit. Women, all of these women, I don't know where the fuck y'all thought that y'all was all TNs at, but that is a bunch of shit. That is the biggest crack ever. For whatever reason, y'all think that y'all all 10s, and that is a lie. You wasn't even a 10 in your own house, your own high school. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, bro. I seen chicks that I graduated with. Like, you wasn't a shit in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you get all of these great expectations and all of this stuff from? Like, stop it.
Yeah, I actually agree with what Anton is saying, because for the sake of conversation, let's say a guy is a 6, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 6. Average guy, average income, average shape, average looks, right? And you get a woman who's a 6 as well, average looks, whatever, average everything. A woman who's a 6 will think she's higher than the guy who's a 6. So in her eyes, she's a 10 and this guy is a 2. Not even a 6, he's a 2. So in other words, she's way high up here and he's down here. So that's what he's pretty much saying, that average women don't want average men. They all want the top guys. So some guys look at that, it's like, okay, You don't want me when I'm average, but once I make it, you want me to still worship the ground you walk on? Like, that's not a fair deal.
And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's social media, I don't know if it's y'all friends, I don't know if it's y'all support group, I don't know if it's these punk ass therapists that's lying to y'all, telling y'all that y'all deserve love.
Oh,
Man,
it's the therapist.
listen,
100%.
listen. Ain't nothing wrong with being a regular person. Regular person. Go and get your regular man.
Yeah.
And go and build that junk up together, and y'all probably can be great together.
Amen.
But you out here thinking that you deserve Odell Beckham Jr. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Molly and Jerry are setting the bar too high.
It's
I
crazy.
do agree. A lot of women today do have unrealistic expectations as it relates to men. And I can say this because some of the women that I've been around or heard certain conversations, and I'm just like thinking in my head, like, sis, like that's completely unrealistic. But I will say this, as it relates to the household, I feel like the man is the head and the woman is the neck, and one cannot move without the other. I think where the disconnect lies is that there's this complex of, I don't think men were better providers then, but I do think that gender roles and where we are supposed to seemingly be look a lot different nowadays. I don't think a lot of women want to be independent. I think a lot of women are pushed into independence.
No. No one is pushed into anything. Because guess what? You just talked about gender roles. The gender roles of a man have stayed the same since time immemorial. Protect, provide, and, take care of the family. Be the leader. Be the planner, right? The gender roles of a man have stayed the same. It doesn't matter how old you were as a woman, 35, 40, 45, you still expect the man to have those same gender roles, the same way your grandma had the same expectation of the same gender roles for your grandfather, right? But the difference is you have the gender roles expectation for the man, but you don't want him to have any expectations for you. That's why you are saying you've been pushed into independence. No, it's a choice you make. No one pushed you, no one forced you to go work, no one forced you and told you shouldn't cook or clean. Maybe Cardi B did because she sang about that, but it was your choice. You can't say anyone forced you.
Agree with Q. A lot of men are not the sole providers in the household. A lot of the times, we're gonna keep it a bean. In Black households, the woman is the one making most of the money. So my thing,
those are single mom households where she's making the most money because there is no man. So clearly she's going to make the most money.
Thing is, you expecting me to swing from a chandelier, keep my body up, keep my face right, keep my body tight, come home, clean, and do that. Whereas you get to just go home, you get to go to work, come home, and sit on your butt. That's what a disconnect is.
Jess, I've been hearing this a lot. I need to understand. What city are y'all making more money than us in?
Good question.
Well, I can't speak for all cities, but right now I'm in Phoenix. But I don't know the specific numbers on that, but a lot of the women are out earning men.
Where?
You just said
so
that.
Black women, there are Black women out earning men. A lot of the households that I've seen, the woman is making.
We literally just had a whole conversation, and you just crashed out about men making more than you.
That's true.
I don't know where y'all seeing these women that's making more than men.
Yes, the reason why you think women.
What jobs do they have?
Because in these same households, the man is doing the heavy lifting. So he might be paying, she contributing, but he paying the rent and she paying the bills and get the pocket to change. So now she got more money to spend, and it looked like he ain't got it because he doing the heavy lifting with his money.
That's facts. That's why guys right now are like, okay, I have you as a woman. We're in a relationship. You want me to pay all the bills, if not majority of the bills, like 80%, but you get to still work and keep your money. So the men are looking at it like, okay, what is your money doing? If this is a team effort, this is a partnership, like they like to call it. We are together. We are building together. What is your money being used for? if I'm working and paying all the bills, but you are using your money to go on girls trips, to buy Chanel bags, to buy a new BMW and, you know, a new Benz, it's like, you feel me? It's not fair. So that's why it could come off as women are making more money because they get to save more money, especially when they have a man who's paying all the bills. Other than that, usually it's the single mom household. There's no man, so she makes more money in her household. But anyway, man, shout out to Anton Daniels. I'll definitely be linking down the video and the channel